6 Prophetic Signs from God. The second angel poured out his bowl into the sea, and it became like the blood of a corpse, and every living thing died that was in the sea.
A pool of water located close to the Dead Sea in the biblical region of Moab, modern-day Jordan, has mysteriously turned blood red. Workers from Jordan's Ministry of Water and Irrigation sampled the water to determine the cause of the bizarre phenomenon, which is as yet unexplained. The images have sparked an uproar on social media, with blood-red waters carrying much significance in the Old Testament as one of the 10 plagues God cast upon the Pharaoh of Egypt to free the Jews from slavery. According to the biblical story, God turned the waters of the river Nile into blood, which killed the fish and prevented the Egyptians from drinking the foul water, in the first of 10 plagues that came as the Pharaoh's punishment for refusing to free his Jewish slaves. The eastern shores of the Dead Sea, where the blood-red pond is located, also happens to be where the two legendary cities of Sodom and Gomorrah stood before they were supposedly destroyed by God for their wickedness. Sodom and Gomorrah were cities whose destruction by God for their wickedness is referenced throughout the Old and New Testament and the Quran.
Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
Have the noises of the 4 fallen angels bound underneath the Euphrates River been recorded? Or maybe the scorpion-type beast that will be released from the earth when the bottomless pit is opened in Revelation 9. Video recently has surfaced of what's allegedly archaeologists digging at the Euphrates River site where it's been dried up, and the video claims to have recorded the noises of these fallen angels or the beasts that are trapped within the bottomless pit. I'll play this video and then we'll look more deeply into it. We do know that there are 4 angels that are bound at the Euphrates River, and that when they're released, they will kill 1/3 of men with 200 million horsemen. Now, we don't really know what those horsemen will be. That's a huge number. They could be entities, they could be some type of technology, but we do know that this event will happen. Revelation 9:14 and 15 says, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year to slay 1/3 part of man. So we know that this event will take place, but we also know that there are beasts that are currently trapped within the bottomless pit that will be released in the last days. And they'll be released by an angel or a fallen angel who opens the bottomless pit at a certain time.
And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests who bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of the Jordan, that the waters of the Jordan shall be cut off, the waters that come down from upstream, and they shall stand as a heap.
Nada Majdalani, who serves as the Palestinian director of EcoPeace. She continued by saying that it has evolved into an ambition of statehood and sovereignty over water resources. According to her, the decrease in the river is particularly disheartening for elderly Palestinians, since they have memories of how they used to go fishing, how they used to have a dip in the river. According to Bromberg, from a Jewish tradition, the river and its banks are a place of miracles, but it doesn't reflect a place of miracles in its current depleted state. Bromberg is referring to the fact that the river's water level has significantly decreased. Israel gave its approval in July to plans to repair a section of the lower Jordan River, a decision that Israel's Minister of Environmental Protection, Tamar Zandberg, referred to as historic.
Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the dumb sing, for the water shall burst forth in the wilderness, and streams in the desert.
Strange events that occurred in various parts of the world began to emerge, such as in Saudi Arabia. Every time there is a strange incident in Saudi Arabia, Muslims in the world always associate this phenomenon with the end of the world. This is because the country, which is the birthplace of Islam, is indeed often a very horrendous event, such as events that recently occurred. In one region in Saudi Arabia recently hit by a phenomenon that is considered unusual. Even the impact of this phenomenon is considered as one of the signs that the end of the world is very near. That's because this desert area in Saudi Arabia suddenly spouts very heavy water that comes from under the desert. Seen in the video, suddenly the water gushed so fast in the middle of the desert. Even as a result of the torrent of water that is very swift formed the flow of rivers and small lakes around it. The incident was in the Rub al-Khali region, which is one of the driest regions in the world, which is located in the south of Saudi Arabia. It is known that al-Khali is the largest desert in the world. The area being one of the driest areas in the world is almost uninhabited, and most of the area is untouched by humans. But as we see today, those arid sandy areas are now like flowing lakes and rivers. But this unusual phenomenon is said to be part of a sign of the approaching end times. The Padang Arafah in Mecca, which was formerly known as a barren desert and no trees, is now part of the Arab lands up to Padang Arafah, already surrounded by trees. And surprisingly, some areas in the Arabian desert are now snowing. This is what makes us all wonder, is the day of judgment very near? May God always protect us wherever we are.
In Islam, as well as in Christianity, of course, in Judaism, and also in Buddhism, plague infestation levels of bugs, of locust-type bugs or grasshoppers, whatever it may be, is a sign of judgment from God normally. We know this most classically because of the plagues of Egypt, the 10 plagues that God brought upon the Pharaoh through Moses right before the Exodus out of Egypt towards Israel. In Exodus 10:3-4, it mentions this plague of the locusts, and it says, "So Moses and Aaron came into Pharaoh and said to him, 'Thus says the Lord God of the Hebrews, how long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go that they may serve me. Or else if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your territory.'" This is very similar and why it seems like it's a prophetic sign of some sort of what just took place in Mecca, with a swarm of locust-type bugs, weird insects infesting the site there, Islam's most holiest site. In 2 Chronicles 7:13, it says, "When I shut up heaven and there is no rain, or command the locusts to devour the land, or send pestilence among my people." Now, this isn't the first time that Mecca has been infested with some type of bug plague level event. Just a couple years ago in 2019, locusts actually infested the site. Here's a video from January 14th, 2019. It says a swarm of what appears to be locusts descend in a flurry on the Grand Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. The authorities say 138 responders were dispatched to eliminate the plague. And just like in 2 Chronicles there, it talks about God controlling the locusts and that he also controls the rain. And on April 10th, 2023, at Mecca, same site there, they experienced extreme heavy rainfall while all the pilgrims were there for Ramadan. Another verse where we're told in the Bible that God controls the animals is in Job 12, 7 through 10. It says, "But now ask the beasts, and they will teach you, and the birds of the air, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, and the fish of the sea will explain to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this, in whose hand is the life of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind?" God, of course, is the one who's in control of all of these events that take place, especially the natural events. So when we see such things as like locust infestations or bug infestations, it should really make one question what's going on at that site. Now, interesting to note about that holy site there at Mecca and the Kaaba, that according to Hadith Islam traditions passed down, what they believe to be inspiration from God, it says that that site will be destroyed once in the last of days, towards the day of resurrection, as they call it. And it says that until the Gog and Magog are let past their barrier, it's reported that someone from Ethiopia will come in, will destroy Kaaba and take its treasure. And this is what Islam teaches. They believe Jesus, of course, to only be a prophet. They don't believe that he is the Son of God.
This has been 6 Prophetic Signs from God by Dr. Jonathan Schlarb. Like and subscribe. Thank you, and God bless.